For decades, public perception of electroconvulsive therapy has been frozen in the past. It is widely pictured as a brutal measure where fully conscious patients are subjected to raw electricity in what was historically known as unmodified ECT. That image of thrashing, unwilling patients was permanently seared into the cultural consciousness by mid-century cinema. Films from the 1970s, most notably One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, presented the therapy as a violent form of institutional control. Those fictional depictions have real consequences. Today, a pervasive stigma surrounds the procedure, fueling active public campaigns that attempt to ban the practice on the grounds of human rights violations. Yet for the people suffering from severe, treatment-resistant mental illnesses, the perspective is different. For these patients, the procedure yields a 70 to 90% symptom relief rate. To them, it is a vital, life-saving intervention. Patients are not dragged into treatment rooms against their will. Before the therapy can be administered today, patients go through rigorous protocols of informed consent. They undergo extensive medical evaluations and willingly opt into the procedure. This typically happens after standard pharmacological treatments have failed to manage their illness. The procedure itself is no longer an isolated event managed solely by a psychiatrist. It is a controlled medical process run in tandem with an anesthesiology team. Doctors reserve this elected medical intervention for severe, life-threatening conditions. The first step of the modern procedure is putting the patient to sleep. Doctors administer a short-acting general anesthetic, usually medications like methotrexate or propofol. Once the patient is unconscious, the team administers a second component, a neuromuscular blocking agent, such as succinylcholine. This blocking agent immobilizes the muscles. It ensures the body remains still, preventing the physical reactions and bone fractures of the past. Chemical suppression of physical convulsions removes the bone fractures and violent movement once associated with the procedure. With the body immobilized, a controlled electrical current induces a therapeutic brain seizure. This triggers a physiological domino effect. The nervous system shifts into a sympathetic state, spiking heart rate and blood pressure. The medical team is prepared for this. They manage those cardiovascular spikes using specific drugs like beta blockers, keeping the physical reactions strictly contained. Every single one of these variables is tracked for the few minutes the patient is under. Physicians strictly manage every physical variable, maintaining a controlled biological event. This level of clinical control does not mean the procedure is without risk. Patients often experience short-term confusion, headaches, and retrograde amnesia, a loss of memories from around the time of the treatment. While it is clinically difficult to separate cognitive decline caused by severe depression from the side effects of the therapy itself, memory loss is a validated and significant concern for those undergoing it. Doctors and patients must weigh those neurological risks against the harsh reality of leaving severe, treatment-resistant depression or catatonia unchecked. The medical community does not ignore the risks of brain stimulation. Instead, they accept them as a calculated medical trade-off required to save a life. Modern clinical surveys give a direct look into the actual experiences of patients following the procedure. When asked about their outcomes, the vast majority report high satisfaction with the care they received, praise the clinical staff, and affirm that the treatment successfully relieved their symptoms. This brings us back to the central tension. The ongoing narrative against the therapy relies on ethical panic and outdated film tropes rather than modern clinical evidence. Confronting these cultural stigmas can prevent patients from being shamed or terrified away from a potentially life-saving treatment.